So Sandy, I have a news flash.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, HelpSystems has a browser interface that gives mobile views of your Robot and Powertech tools. And is this new news? Well, not exactly. This interface has been available for more than 5 years and now supports even more products and functionality. So our plan today is to expose you to what the possibilities are and how you can take advantage of this interface. The word for today is insight. I want you to hold on to that thought for just a moment. My name is Chuck Lasinski. I'm the Director of Technical Solutions at HelpSystems here in Minnesota. And I'm also joined today by my friend and colleague, Sandy Moore. Hello, Sandy.
Hi, Chuck. I'm happy to be here. This is fun.
Great. Yeah, this will be a good webinar. We've got a lot of live demo. This is your opportunity to ask questions. We'll either field those questions during the webinar, or we'll follow up afterwards as usual. And we'll be in this webinar for about 45 minutes. It is being recorded. You'll receive a follow-up email with a link to the recording along with some additional collateral. And with that, let's jump into our first polling question right off the bat. The question is, are you using HelpSystems Insite? So Sandy, I'm going to launch that question.
Perfect. All right, you guys. So what we're looking for here is to find out if you're using the HelpSystems Insite interface. And so multiple options here you can select. Please check any of the boxes that apply to you. Really want to see if you guys are taking advantage of this and kind of get a feel for how many people are familiar with it, using it, and if you're not using it, we're going to hopefully get enough information out to you that you guys might see some value in using this in your environment. So
exactly. We get busy with our day-to-day lives, and we've been, using various Robot and Powertech tools for many years, and they're just humming along, doing what they need to do. But we've got some new technology that you can take advantage of, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And that's really where this webinar started out as an idea from talking to many customers and them not having really a full realization of what Insight can do. All right, so let's close the poll and we'll share the results.
All right.
What do you think, Sandy?
So I think that we're going to actually get some people excited today and show them something new that they're going to be able to use. Like most of the folks that have joined us today are not using it yet. So
precisely, that's perfect. That's exactly what we were hoping for.
Yep.
All right.
Very cool. All right. So what we'll do today here to help you guys along the way and figuring out what this all is we'll go through the basics. And Chuck's going to share that with us. I'll talk a little bit about the Insight for PowerTech. Chuck's going to share Insight for Robot, and we'll both talk a little bit about Deployment Manager and the dashboard. So super exciting. Hopefully we'll have some time at the end there for some questions. So let's get going.
All right, let's dive into the basics. So the Robot and Powertech line have grown dramatically over the past 10 to 12 years. These product lines, as you know, are very modular, and they provide very distinct user interfaces and are fairly sequential in their update process. All right, you've got multiple Robot or PowerTech products, you're going to update them one at a time. So we wanted to provide a way for our customers to work with our products inside a single environment with a common look and feel. So in addition to providing a better overall user experience, we wanted to make it easier for our customers to update their products to the latest versions. That's always been kind of a bugaboo, is keeping folks up to date, and also provide operational type dashboards for using the data in our products. And then we also wanted to provide a mobile interface to our products as well, and Insight offers all of this. So we look at Insight as an integration hub that brings our products together, that presents them to you in a modern web experience. And it's a no-cost addition to the product package that you already have from HelpSystems as a customer. I've been working with this technology since its inception more than 5 years ago, so I've seen it grow up. I've seen it mature as a as an offering to our customers. It's been free since day one, and actually the first product supported in it was Robot Schedule. And I think about Robot Schedule or Robot Console in an environment like this, back to the green screen days where folks had to navigate through multiple green screens. You might have PowerTech Network Security or Exit Point Manager, and so you've got yet another interface to look at. And oh, by the way, you got to keep your products up to date. And well, what if I want to bring multiple metrics together from multiple products in a single dashboard? And that's the whole idea behind Insight, not to mention mobile. So the idea is that you will provide a Windows or Linux VM to actually install and configure the Insight HTTP server. And today you're going to see how the connections are made back to your various IBMI, and I'll mention non-IBMI partitions, because the Insight technology supports more than just IBMI running on Power. Okay, so we've got a number of our non-IBMI products accessible from Insight as well. So a JDBC connection is established. The desktop interface, of course, is through various browser technologies, and the mobile view is also based on browser. So for instance, if you're working on an iPhone or a iPad, for instance, you'd be using Safari. All right, so let's dive into cybersecurity, Sandy. Sandy, hello.
Well, my mic was on mute.
There you go. Okay. Welcome back.
Yay! So yeah, I would love to talk about security, and it's one of my favorite topics. So, a lot of longtime robot customers, HelpSystems customers, may not realize we have an entire security suite, and we have built that on an incredible amount of experience at the company. And so building this into a portfolio of really powerful security solutions that are designed to provide critical functionality to companies in every industry vertical. And most of these engagements that we do with customers do start with a security scan, and it's a free service. So giving users the ability to see where their security posture is at the time. So the solutions are really designed to help satisfy not only regulatory and legislative compliance requirements, but also internal corporate policies. So each of them extends and leverages the integrated security infrastructure found within IBMI. So working with the system, not against it, or trying to do something beyond its capabilities. So if an organization runs applications on IBMI servers, has an interest in security compliance, these modules are going to provide valuable functionality and a return on their security investment. So each of one of these works independently, but a lot of times you can work them together, and they actually will support each other to get you even to a better security position. So what does that mean for our Insight? Well, we've been working diligently to start bringing more of these, our security products, into Insight and providing you with information at hand. So the Exit Point Manager and multi-factor authentication both have full functionality to actually configure the products. And so you've got a web user interface where you can easily go through and manage all your configurations. We also have dashboards for majority of our products there, where you can create your own dashboards, and we're going to show you guys that a little bit later. But being able to have critical information at your fingertips so that you know what's going on, not only on one system with multiple security products, but multiple systems all in one place. So here you get just a little bit of an example here of with our PowerTech Exit Point Manager, formerly known as Network Security, and being able to pull up and get a visual in color of where your transaction counts are. How busy is our system today? Being able to see rejected and allowed transactions. Then on the left there, you can see there's all of the functionality that you need in order to configure network security, exit point manager, and also review what's going on the system. Also got multi-factor authentication user setup. So being able to configure the software and manage your users, reports, settings, and everything in there at your fingertips to be able to get it configured. All right. Let's show them, Chuck.
All right,
What
let's
some of
do
this
that.
looks like.
Okay, we're going to start with some of the basics as well as diving into some of the PowerTech functionality. But first, let's just remind everybody that this is browser technology. So of course you can have multiple tabs. So you can see I have PowerTech Network Security, Robot Schedule, Console, Dashboards, and Deployment Manager across the top. Of course, I can use my scroll wheel. I can zoom in and out depending on what your preferences are. And I've got bookmarks as well. All right, so I've got multiple bookmarks here in my bookmarks tab. All right, everybody's used to that. Everybody knows how to do that. A list of supported products. You get to the supported products in Insight simply by clicking on the product name. So here I'm clicking on Robot Console, and that shows me all of the supported products that have direct functionality outside of dashboard setup and updates. All right, so you can see some of these products are PowerTech and Robot, and then you'll see, for instance, Intermapper, our network monitoring tool. All right, you'll see Automate Schedule, so that's a multi-platform scheduling tool. You'll see Automate for RPA and so forth. All right. First thing I wanted to point out from a configuration standpoint is that once the Insight HTTP server is installed in Windows or Linux, you're going to establish your product connection. And basically what that means is you're going to point the Insight server back at your IBMI partitions. All right, and you'll see that the partition type is listed here, or the server type is listed here. And I've got a number of IBMI servers out there. We're going to spend quite a bit of time here with my Wisdom system. It's a very wise system. When the connection is made between Insight and the IBMI partition, we do an inventory of the PowerTech, Robot, and for that matter, SQL products that are out there. All right, and that provides information to us that allows us to do updates as well. Okay. In terms of the user setup and the security setup, you will set up users in the system. You can also have guest users. The authentication is provided either by an IBMI partition, and that's what I'm doing, or you can use LDAP. And then the users will map their credentials to the various servers that are listed here under the products. So you might have multiple usernames based on what server they're connecting to. You can also set up roles and security groups. All right, so for instance, if I go into my robot schedule role, you'll see that we have users defined here, and then down below here, you'll see what they're authorized to, both in terms of the systems and in terms of the products that they'll see in their menu. All right, so you can limit the products that they'll see over here on the menu. Okay, let's take a look at network security. All right, so this is PowerTech Network Security, now known as PowerTech Exit Point Manager. First of all, we're looking at the transaction count, inbound transaction count. So most of the products that are in the Insight tools list have a home screen, and this is representative of the home screen. Additional functionality provided by network security. For instance, we can drill into rules, we can create rules, we can change rules, and we can distribute rules to multiple systems from this interface. Okay, and there's other PowerTech products in the list as well. All right, so not only do we have PowerTech Network Security, we also have PowerTech MFA, PowerTech Event Manager, PowerTech Antivirus, and this is outside of IBMI. IBMI is not included in this yet, password self-help. And there is PowerTech functionality outside of this menu, and you'll see that when we get to dashboard. So for instance, if you use our encryption tool, we have functionality for dashboard representation of those metrics. Sandy,
Yes, sir.
how's that look?
Beautiful.
Okay. All right, let's dive into Robot now. That was a little introduction to the PowerTech side of the equation. Now we're going to dive into the Robot side of the equation. And much like the PowerTech side of the equation, the Robot tools are very modular. Some of the tools are green screen only, some provide a graphical interface, and we've added some additional tools into this product line over the years. So for instance, Robot Monitor was added to the product line a few years ago. It had a different interface. Now we're providing some functionality here within Insight to access Robot Monitor metrics as well. Now, are all of these fully implemented in Insight yet? Today, no, but we're working toward implementing more and more of these in Insight. However, everything with the exception of Performance Navigator, you can update through Insight, and we will get to that in a separate section of this presentation. All right, so a more detailed breakdown. Robot Schedule is more of an operational view in Insight. Robot Console, you'll have access to message centers, meaning you'll be able to access a message and answer it there, as well as resource monitoring. Robot Network is fully implemented in Insight. All right. Likewise for Robot Console, you could take Robot Console data and implement them in a dashboard, and there are widgets associated with that. Likewise for Robot Schedule, and all the way across the board with Robot Network. Now the beauty of this is I could create a dashboard with Robot Schedule information and also with Automate information or Automate Schedule information. So I can have multiple products across multiple platforms, all configured in a single dashboard. So what a way to simplify your life and just have a single view of all that data. So as mentioned in the live demo, of course, this is browser technology, so I could have multiple tabs into the various areas of Robot Schedule and maybe Robot Console that I want to access. And also I'll point out that the system is listed here, and I'll show you in the live demo how you can simply select whatever system that you want to see. So for instance, if you want to get to the schedule activity information for a different system, you just click on the system name, select that other system, and it'll take you to data being pulled from that other system. And one of the things I really, really love about Insight is its mobile capabilities. And I've used this mobile capability sitting on an airplane. All right, I had a robot job that I needed to put on hold. And so I simply fired up my iPhone. I started my VPN client back to the office. I fired up my Insight in Safari, and I was able to navigate into Robot Schedule and find the job and put it on hold. And we've had customers tell us, they were in the parking lot of the Target store, and they got a email alert or a text message from Robot Alert saying that a job had an issue and they needed to go in and investigate it, and they were able to do that via the mobile technology. And there is also some other additional information that, for instance, you'll be able to access in Robot Schedule. For instance, you can view critical jobs. So we have a way to identify critical jobs and then only limit your view then to that list of critical jobs. And you'll also see the job flow diagram today is a pretty powerful feature of Robot Schedule in Insight. Now, if you're a Robot Console user, we've implemented Robot Console message centers and resource monitor status in Insight. All right, so instead of using either green screen or our graphical interface, you can now answer a message or acknowledge a message inside of Insight, and of course via mobile. That could be very, very helpful. And finally, Robot Network. Robot Network was an early adopter, and I shouldn't say finally, we got a little bit more here, but Robot Network was adopted early on into Insight, and it allows complete functionality of Robot Network through browser. And so for instance, here's the Robot Network Status Center. I could reply to a message, I could acknowledge a status, I could reconfigure my network, etc., all through the Insight browser interface. And finally, one of the most recent and important additions to Insight is what's called the watch list. Robot Monitor has been a popular tool in our robot product line ever since its adoption of the robot product line a few years ago now. And it's a monitoring tool for IBMI and VIOS and AIX and so forth. And so we want to start bringing that monitoring technology into Insight and provide visibility into Robot Monitor. Robot Monitor's data is typically accessed through a graphical interface. And so we want to start pulling that data into Insight. So we created something called a watch list. And the watch list will actually be a technology that will be used to collect data from multiple sources. Currently, it's only collecting data exclusively from Robot Monitor. So you tell it what data you want it to collect, what metrics you want it to collect, and as long as those metrics are being collected in Robot Monitor, we'll be able to pull that data and display it inside of a dashboard. All right, so for instance, here's CPU usage, and you can see the threshold indicators are also showing. And it could be for a single system, or it could be, for instance, one metric across multiple systems, as long as Robot Monitor is out there doing that heavy lifting. All right, really excited about this. This is where I spend a lot of my time, so let's dive in here. Okay, so let's jump into Robot Schedule. And once again, we have a home screen for Robot Schedule. And the cool thing about this is it shows me all my robot schedules across all my Insight connected systems. All right, and it shows me the job activity for the last 6 hours. I could go 12, 24, and 48. Okay, so this is just kind of an overall, looks like everything's happy, robot schedule's active and running. So what are some of the other things that we can do? So one of the more common things that we do is we look at the schedule activity. This is technology that is not in the green screen. It's in the GUI interface for Robot Schedule, the graphical interface, and it's important. So we brought it into Insight. All right, so the schedule activity listing shows those jobs that will be running. It shows what jobs are active, and you can see I've got one that's waiting on a message. Looks like it's stuck. Okay, and then here's our completed list over here. All right, so for this job that's stuck on a message, I can drill into it and I can see the job log, for instance. All right, so here's my job log. You can see we're waiting on a message. Now, I'm not going to be able to reply to this message because that's the responsibility of Robot Console. I'll be able to reply to the message there. But I might be wondering, gosh, I wonder, how does this job relate to other jobs? Is it holding up downstream work? What triggered this job? So what I can do is I can create a live job flow diagram. And live meaning I can actually watch the processes execute. So this job was triggered by my nightly process. All right, so from here I could drill into the job, for instance, to look at its properties. All right, so I can drill into the properties of the job. I could put the job on hold. I can rerun a job and so forth from here. I can further expand the job flow diagram. So we're reaching back into Robot Schedule and we're pulling this information. All right, as mentioned, I can also choose a different system. All right, so I just clicked on the system name and I can see the other systems in the list. Finally, I'm going to show you the critical jobs list. Okay, this is functionality where we're only concerned with a subset of our total robot jobs list. All right, so behind the scenes, we're using a robot query to identify the jobs that we're interested in. In this case, it's our backups. And now I can drill into the job completion history, the schedule activity, the job monitoring history, and so forth. So now we're just looking at a subset of those jobs. All right, so and basically I just have my daily backup, which will be running tonight at 8 o'clock. Let's look at this same information through mobile. So off to the side here, I have what would be a mobile representation of Insight. Okay. So here we're in Robot Console, and so I could, for instance, drill into my messages. And remember, we had that robot job that was on hold, or excuse me, it wasn't on hold, it was waiting on a message. And here it is. All right, so what I can do is I could reply to this message, and we're going to go ahead and do this, Sandy. And let's go ahead and cancel it. I know I can cancel it. All right, see it says the reply was sent, so we got confirmation. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. You can also set it to refresh automatically, so you can see my job is now gone from the list. All right, and we're going to see that update here where you're going to see the canceled job listed over on the right-hand side as well. All right, so now let's look at Robot Console. All right, so this is a larger version of what you're seeing here. This is Robot Console messages and resource monitoring status. So I've got a couple of resource monitors. I've got a nightly job queue. It's held, it's expected to be released, and that's why it's showing red here. So very easy to see just at a glance that something is not proper. And you can represent this data in a dashboard as well. All right. Next, we'll go to Robot Network. As mentioned, Robot Network is completely implemented now in the web interface. All right, so if you're familiar with Robot Network at all, for instance, if you need to change any of your host properties, if you need to drill into the status center in terms of nodes, you might need to get into the node properties, performance details, or status center, for instance, just for a particular node. You can do that here in Insight. All right, so here's the status center, and now it's subsetted just for the Academy system. And finally, let's take a look at watch list. All right, so with watch list, what you're doing is you're making a request back to the central system that is hosting Robot Monitor. All right, and what you're doing is you're asking for it to pull data from that system. So I'm pulling data from that system, and we're going to pull that data into a dashboard. All right, and that's what we're going to be showing you here in just a couple of minutes. We're going to show you dashboard technology. Whew.
This is pretty cool, Chuck.
All right, here we go. Let's talk about the deployment manager, Sandy.
Oh, yes. I love Deployment Manager. Absolutely. So with Deployment Manager, we've got the ability to save time for everybody. And that's really the goal here, is to make life easier. And so being able to keep track of all the products that have updates available, getting it installed, adding your license keys, being able to have that inventory not only of one system, but all of your systems, and figuring out, you know, have I installed it on all 5 of my partitions? Have I fully deployed it? And if we have, okay, great. All right, now we've got it on all 5 systems, but maybe one of them's behind and we need to do some updates. So really being able to see everything we have in one place and making sure that we're keeping it up to date. Because as you know, with any software, it needs to be kept up to date in order for it to function at its best. So really that's where making that easier for us, you know, being able to keep track of it.
Yeah, like you said, if you've got, especially if you have multiple partitions, multiple products, it gets to be, you know, even as good as our update process is for our Robot and Powertech products, you know, we can always make it better. And that's the idea, is to help you guys out. So let's dive into the deployment manager. All right, so as I mentioned up front, when we connect to a system, IBMI partition, we do an inventory of what's out there. Okay, so we know what products are installed in terms of Robot, Powertech, and SQL. All right, and then here on the home screen, we'll show you those products that have updates available. Okay, so this is your overall view. And also, if you're a larger customer and you're into enterprise licensing, you can actually generate a license from here for one of the products that are included in your enterprise license agreement. Diving down to the individual products, this is going to look somewhat familiar to you. in that we list the product and then we have a little red indicator at the top indicating whether or not there's an update available. All right, so I'll just, let's take PowerTech encryption, for instance. All right, it says there's one update available. It's installed on 4 systems. All right, so first of all, in terms of licensing, in fact, let me go to licensing here on eSend. All right, so here's where eSend is installed. This is more of a SQL topic, but I've got eSend installed across multiple partitions, and it looks like I've got a license that's expiring in 8 days. So I could work with the license here from Insight. I could update the license key, all right, from the license manager. In terms of actually running an update of PowerTech encryption, it's simply a matter of saying install. And by the way, these are products that have updates available. If I scroll down, you'll see the list of products that are already updated. All right. So let's take a look at PowerTech encryption. I'm going to do an install. And where do I want to do the update? Well, it looks like HS25 is on 3mod 59. 3mod 60 is available. So it's simply a matter of selecting it. And then when I say install, what's going to happen is it's going to download the update from HelpSystems. It's going to push it to your partition, and it's going to run the update process. Now, if you don't want to run the update process immediately, you can say stage, and we'll send a save file to your system, and then you can run the update through a command. And by the way, because it's a staged update, you could run that update in a batch mode now. We do have batch commands that allow you to update the products.
Pretty slick.
All right.
I like it.
Let's talk dashboards.
Cool.
Sandy, this is the ultimate PowerTech and Robot dashboard.
It really is. It combines all that relevant data we need into a single view. And so really what we want to do is build a view of all of the critical pieces that we need to keep track of. And with this dashboard, we've pulled in multiple products. We've got Robot Console. We've got our exit point manager there. So we've got a view of the statistics. We've got our encryption information down there, password self-help. So how many user profiles are set up there? We've got Robot Console resource monitors. We've got Robot Monitor with our current status, Robot Network Host Status Center, PowerTech Authority Broker for IBMI, and even Robot Schedule activity count. So you can see we've pulled a whole bunch of things together all into one screen. So instead of having multiple browser windows open or multiple Access Client Solutions sessions open, you know, you've got all this stuff in one place so you can easily pop back and forth. Or maybe you're more into building your own dashboards and you really want to have some dedicated dashboards that have all the information you need. So this one here is for our encryption for IBMI software. So being able to pull all the relevant information into one screen to be able to easily see what your status is. You've got your audit details, you can sort by, scroll through, and then counts of the different types of activity that may be going on within your encryption. So things to watch for. You know, you have a screen open and you've got all of a sudden you see some red on it. That might be something you need to go investigate. So this is where my creative juices get to start flowing and creating these dashboards. Chuck, tell me about this one. Yeah.
Well, so PowerTech Event Manager, this is a SIM product that allows you to see the security details that are coming in from multiple servers across your environment. So this is a good example of a product that's outside of IBMI that we have supported in Insight. And let's jump ahead here a little bit. Yet another product that may or may not be outside of IBMI. If you're familiar with our Go Anywhere managed file transfer solution, Go Anywhere Secure FTP. From an administrative standpoint, how are things going with your file transfer activity? And whether that Go Anywhere tool is running native on IBMI or if it's running off in the Windows, Linux, or AIX world, we can incorporate that data in as well. So we don't have direct functionality to control Go Anywhere, but we do have the dashboard capability within Insight. And
Yeah,
if
check
you,
this out.
yeah,
BRMS dashboards.
BRMS dashboards. Yeah, so if you're a BRMS user, especially if you're in a multi-partition environment, we can centralize all the information from all of your BRMS environments across your IBMI platforms or IBMI partitions into a single view. And I have a dashboard to show you today that will show you that consolidated BRMS information. Did you get a good backup? How many objects were saved? Did some objects not get saved? And so forth. One more live demo. Sandy, let's do this. Let's dive into dashboards. All right, so I'm going to show you first of all the main dashboard list. I showed you some of the navigation within Insight. Over here on the left-hand side in the menu system is the dashboard list. And what you're going to see initially are those dashboards that you created and whether or not you've shared them out. So anybody can create a dashboard as long as they're authorized, but only I can use or see or edit that dashboard unless I share it. Okay, so that's part of the dashboard properties is you can share it out to individuals or groups. All right, you can also organize those dashboards into folders. All right, so you can see I have a robot folder here and I have a dashboard defined there. Okay, let's dive into one specific dashboard, and I think this is it. Yep. Okay, so this is the Robot Powertech dashboard that Sandy and I were just showing you. And a couple things I wanted to show you here is I'm going to turn on the edit mode and we'll dive into, let's dive into edit first of all. And this is the overall edit properties. And what I wanted to show you here is you can set the dashboard to auto refresh, and you can also set the individual widgets to auto refresh. Okay, and you can see as I float over the dashboard widgets, I can take any one of these and I could, for instance, split it. All right, and then I could say, okay, let's add a widget here. Okay, and I'm going to delete that. And of course, you can resize these windows as needed. All right, and I'm going to, one other thing I wanted to show you was sharing. All right, so here's the sharing option. You can see this one's shared to the all users group. So everybody can see this dashboard. Another dashboard that Sandy created. So we're gonna go to the shared folder is her infamous encryption dashboard. And the reason I wanna show this encryption dashboard is that it shows live data. Okay, so you're going to see the metrics populate. And so for instance, for full decryptions, we're up to 1,149 full decryptions. And I'm just going to, behind the scenes, I'm going to update. I'm going to do some more encryption kind of behind the scenes. And this dashboard auto refreshes, but that number is going to increase because I've just been busy decrypting some data. All right, so now we're up to 1,437 decryptions. All right, so this is a fantastic way to see, well, what's going on with my encryption? How many encryptions or decryptions are taking place in my IBMI environment? All right, and you know, we're constantly looking to add additional products to Insight, especially into the dashboard mode. And Sandy, I think you wanted to talk about in particular.
I would love to look at that Insight Analytics.
Okay.
We've got some pretty cool stuff there, being able to look at queries and the database connections, which is all going to feed those dashboards.
Yes, so Insight Analytics is an inexpensive add-on. This is the only licensed add-on for Insight, and if you're interested in learning more about it, certainly talk to your regional sales manager about this. But with Insight Analytics, you can do multi-platform, multi-database data collection and bring this data, centralize it into Insight. So I've just clicked on the data connections branch, and it's showing you all the various servers that I'm connecting to collect data, including an Excel spreadsheet, Microsoft SQL Server, DB2, of course, other IBM DB2 environments and so forth. All right. So behind here, we're creating an SQL statement to pull data that will then populate a dashboard. And one of those dashboards that I mentioned was for BRMS. All right, so let's dive into our shared dashboards. And my coworker, Mike Stegman, has been working diligently at creating dashboards around BRMS. So here's a BRMS dashboard, and what we're doing is we're using that data connection to connect to collect data, BRMS data from multiple IBM partitions. So all those partitions are listed down here. All right, whether or not we had a successful backup, how long did the backup take, how many objects weren't saved, how many objects were saved, what's the save file size, how many BRMS backups are active, and so forth. What a great way to consolidate your data across your environment. There's no tool right now other than this to bring that information all into a single dashboard. And remember, we're not just querying operational data like this, we could also be querying application data. All right, so for instance, sales data, all right, inventory data. So an example of that is I've got a dashboard here that is querying the data in a data warehouse to provide sales feedback, graphical sales feedback. As mentioned, this is a very inexpensive add-on to Insight. Feel free to contact your regional sales manager or anybody who you're working with here at HelpSystems, and we can get you information on that. All right.
Pretty cool.
Awesome. All right, and that brings us to our final polling question of the day, and this is an important one. What we want to know is, what can we do to help you? Okay, so first option is let's connect for a tech update conversation. A technology update is a conversation with one of us here at HelpSystems around the products that you own, other products that may help you in upcoming projects. Certainly we want to know about what your roadmap is in terms of your technology. We're going to let you ask us about our technology. So we're going to share information. It's an information sharing opportunity. If you're interested in a Insight demo for your team, I would be happy to do that. If you'd like to schedule a setup session with our support team, we can provide that. And certainly, if you'd like more information about Insight, we will make sure we get that to you. All right, so while you're answering that question, Sandy, we got about 1 minute left, and we have a couple of questions. One was kind of obvious. How much does Insight cost? Insight is free as part of your HelpSystems license. Here's a question, Sandy. Is it better to use Linux or Windows as the host?
Yeah, that's actually a personal preference. You can actually even use Power Linux on a Power server to host Insight. So, it depends on what you have available and, what your team wants to do with it.
All right, and another question, if we have one product but multiple systems, what is the value of Insight? Well, for instance, if you have Robot Schedule only, but you have multiple partitions, you have visibility into Robot Schedule across all those partitions, including consolidating all that information into a single dashboard and keeping all those partitions up to date with the deployment manager and so forth. All right. Well, Sandy, I'm gonna close the poll, and we are going to conclude today's webinar. We really appreciate everybody's attention today. This is really an important topic and very strategic for all of our Robot and Powertech customers. We really thank you for your time today, and thanks for being a customer of HelpSystems. Sandy?
Yeah, this is awesome. Really appreciate everybody. Glad you guys could join us.
All right. Everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.